Warm greetings from IMC in Redwood City, California. And in various stages of Buddhist practice, a very important part of the practice is something in the family of letting go. And there's many different nuances to that, or shades of that, different aspects of letting go. And the one that I'd like to emphasize today is letting be. So very closely related to insight practice, vipassana, mindfulness, is the ability to be very present and aware, recognizing what's happening in the present moment, and to do so without any movement of being for or against the experience, without any movement trying to do something with it or recoil from the experience, but just to let it be. And it's a little bit of not quite what it seems, because to let something be, sometimes we have to let go of our desires and aversions to it. But we can also let be those desires and aversion. And so the idea is to kind of like we're stepping back to observe or to be present for whatever is coming and going, whatever is happening. And even if we're for and against the experience, if that's what's happening, just to let that be. And in the letting be, in that just letting it just alone, leaving it alone, don't picking it up, don't push it away. Nothing needs to be let go of, but let everything be. So, even so, to be able to come to that place, we begin the meditation often by letting go, by a certain form of letting go, which is relaxation or calming. So taking a meditation posture and gently settling into your posture, perhaps with a caring or tenderness for your body and for you, to be a little careful, so that even with nuances in the posture, you're kind of lining yourself up, getting yourself settled, putting yourself into a posture that all the little, maybe even micro muscles are getting lined up, getting established, to be alert and aware. And if you're sitting upright, to think of the spine as maybe as a pillar, firm, strong pillar, from which everything else in your body can hang. So the spine is strong and alert, and it's there to support everything else to relax, soften. Closing the eyes. And gently, kindly, taking a little deeper breath than usual. And slowly, leisurely, exhale and let that breath release. And taking these deep breaths at the beginning, maybe you can do so leisurely, as if you have all the time in the world to breathe. And as you exhale, leisurely relax. And then letting your breathing return to normal. And leisurely, as if you have lots of time, and calmly let the attention roam around the body. And if you find any place where there's holding, tension, tightness, on the exhale, soften and relax. And then letting your body settle a little bit more, and becoming more attuned to the body's experience of breathing. And this is where letting be begins. To just let your body breathe the way it does. Let it be. Even if you're controlling the breath or breathing in a forced way or uncomfortable way. We're training ourselves to be okay for these few moments, minutes of meditation, to let it be. And in letting it be aware of how it is. At the end of the exhale, let it be. Leisurely, there's no hurry to breathe in. You can just let things be. And the natural functioning of the body will begin the inhale. At the top of the inhale, a gentle letting be, and the natural release of the exhale will begin on its own. So that letting be is not removed or aloof from experience. The letting be can include a quality of receptivity. Let the experience, allow it to be intimate, or allow it to be received. Received in how the body experiences breathing. And if the mind wanders off in thought, and you notice it, part of the art of letting be is to let that be. But the letting be comes from a kind of strength or stability inside that is not involved with the thinking, not bothered by the thinking, has no need to let go of the thinking, but lets it be so it's seen clearly for what it is. This is thinking. If the thinking is strong and compulsive, that clear seeing of thinking can see, this is compulsive thinking, this is strong thinking. There can even be a expression of amazement. Wow, that's a lot of thinking. And that clear recognition is a kind of stepping away or being independent of the thinking. So the mind no longer is the thinking. Thinking is just a part of the mind, something that can be observed, known. And when the thinking is no longer compelling, or you feel like you've acknowledged it enough, begin again with your breathing. Receiving the experience of breathing into awareness and letting it be. While you're sitting, watching, feeling the breathing, inevitably your mind will focus on something else, on thoughts, emotions, body sensations. Wherever your mind is drawn, use that as an occasion to let that experience, let it just be. So you're not involving yourself in it, reacting to it. You're not getting involved in your preferences or your judgments about it. But just letting it be so that you can know it in whatever clarity of mindfulness that is available. And when you feel you've done it enough, begin again with your breathing. And if you find yourself clinging to anything, attached to something, let it be. Not to condone it or participate in it, but also not to let go of it or push it away. But let it be so it's known clearly. Let it be so Awareness is not pulled in to be involved with or reactive to the attachment. It's just known. And to help you let things be, you could use the label just breathing, just thinking, just feeling, just sensing in the body. And that word just can be a support to leaving things alone and not building stories or reacting or interpreting something in complicated ways. Letting be gives us the opportunity to allow each thing to just be in the simplicity of how it appears in the moment, almost as if there's no past and future to it. It's just a breath, just a thought, just an emotion. Each thing respected for what it is, in the moment, nothing more and nothing less. Letting it be as it is, in the moment. one of the qualities or aspects of letting things be is that each thing is respected for what it is. Each thing is allowed to be without the overlay of our projections, our preferences, our desires and our aversions, our bias. And to learn this ability in meditation can allow us to do that for the people we meet, to be able to be with them and allow them to be who they are with respect, to have that place inside of us where there's independence, a kind of freedom in the awareness that we're bigger, just like the mind is more than its thoughts. The mind is more than how people are in the world. And to have this bigger mind, this freer mind, to give people the gift of letting them be just as they are, to respect them for what they are. And if what they're doing is not skillful, kind, there is an art to letting that be. So that hangs in the air and is seen clearly. We don't approve of it, but in awareness we don't disapprove of it. We just let it be, poignant and clear. And allowing people to be helps them feel respected, known, as they are. The good, the bad, the ugly, in a way that maybe allows them to move towards freedom, for them to grow. May it be that through this practice we support the happiness and peace and freedom of all beings through our ability to offer respect to each person, allowing them to be, to find their way to happiness and freedom, so that we are not interfering with that. May all beings be happy. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be free. So with this Monday, the theme for the week is letting go. And I use that term as an umbrella term, a category term, for a whole family of movements, from the simple relaxation of the body, releasing of tension, to the full cessation of suffering. That is the end of the Buddhist path. And everything in between. And there's the Buddha has a lot of different words for this family of mental movements. And in English they translated in things like certainly relaxing, tranquilizing, calming, relinquishment, release, freeing, liberation, freedom. So it goes on and on like that. Giving up, and so we could add that other words there in English, that kind of in that family, and each of them maybe has this little different quality, a distinct characteristic, and it's appropriate in different places. And in one way or the other, the path of Buddhism is to bring something to an end. And that something is our suffering. The ways in which we suffer because we hold on, we cling, we resist. That there's some kind of inner compulsive behavior, a driven behavior of holding and clinging, that might have a lot of authority, might be there sometimes for good reasons. But with practice, we see it limits us, it diminishes us, it constricts us, and it doesn't really allow for the full flowering and thriving of our hearts, of our minds, of our being, of our life. And so part of mindfulness practice is not just being present for things and seeing and being mindful and being a little bit calmer and less reactive, but it's really to, as a platform, as a means by which to have the deepest and fullest letting go that's possible for human being. And the path there is to learn something about all the different shades or forms of letting go that a person can have. And now letting go is an ordinary activity. There's a tremendous amount of letting go that people do throughout the day, and probably doesn't take much reflection to realize how much you're letting go of. And maybe sometimes it's so automatic and so easy that you don't even think of it as letting go. That maybe you were expecting to have fruit for breakfast. It's a particular fruit. And you show up and it's not there. It's finished. And so you just, okay, well, I wanted it, but it's not there, and so I'll have cereal instead, or something else. And in that moment, there is a kind of letting be, letting go. The desires let go of, and maybe it's so easy that you hardly even know you let go of it because there's no power in the desire. It just was a nice little thing to do, to have fruit. Or you're expecting to go, for a walk with a friend outdoors. And here in California, you wake up, and nowadays, some days the air is clean, and sometimes it's not because of the smoke. And so you realize, well, as unfortunate it is, you can't go for the hike with this kind of bad air. And maybe the letting go is not that easy. Maybe then, because of the desire was so strong, the anticipation, this wonderful time with your friend, and the ongoing continuity of the limitation in the life because of the smoke and COVID-19 and all kinds of things, that you don't let go of the desire easily, and rather the desire remains, but the desire now is frustrated, and there's frustration and anger and weariness and kind of like not again, and that kind of collapse, all because that desire was being held kind of strongly. And it wasn't just simply letting go of the morning breakfast, the fruit, but now that desire, maybe if you want to be free of all that secondary reactivity, maybe it requires a deeper kind of, more difficult kind of releasing of desire and putting it in the context of finding our freedom even with that. So, all kinds of very ordinary ways in which we let go. Life requires us to let go. We're driving down the road and we expect to get somewhere, but the red light turns red, and so we have to let go of, pushing, as fast as we can to get someplace. And for a few moments we let go, but as soon as it turns green, we pick up again. And even as we're anticipating the light to get green, we pick up that attachment, that clinging to getting somewhere fast. And you can feel physiologically sometimes the difference between holding on and wanting and pushing ahead and letting go and settling back. Even in the car, it might be that we let go when it's red light, we stop and sit there and rest. But as the time goes on, we get closer to when we think it's going to turn green. We can see physiologically the tension builds up, the foot starts kind of ready, kind of feeling poised to push the gas pedal and ready to go as soon as it's green because we have to get somewhere. And so this picking up and letting be, picking up and letting go is part and parcel of everyday life. In Buddhism, Buddhist practice, mindfulness practice, it's one of the things to be mindful of, is mindful of letting go. And starting this week on this topic of mindful letting go is really following on the foundation of the last 4 weeks, where we did mindfulness of breathing, of thinking, of emotions, and the body. And this is kind of like taking that to the next level. With all that as a foundation, knowing how to be mindful and find our way with all these different areas of our practice, of our life, now the next task can be to add to that, on top of that, with that as a something we understand how to do, to become mindful of letting go. And this can be as simple as becoming mindful of all the simple, ordinary ways we let go throughout the day. We're tense, standing in line in the grocery store, and we feel the shoulders go up, and once we see it, we kind of take a breath and relax the shoulders. And that's a kind of letting go. And to become aware of all the ordinary letting goes throughout the day builds momentum or builds familiarity. And just like we want to become familiar with the workings of thinking and emotions and the body and even of breathing, we want to become familiar with the workings of letting go and how it works and how we do it and where we're good at it, where it's hard, and how it's done in different ways. Sometimes with the shoulders, sometimes with the jaws, the clenching of the jaws, sometimes with a clenching in the mind, a gripping of ideas and thoughts. And if you're having a conversation with someone and you find yourself kind of leaning forward, you're so eager to say something, you almost don't hear them anymore, and you feel a little bit of frustration because can't they stop talking? I want to say. We're caught. And perhaps seeing that you're not really listening or seeing it's disrespectful to interrupt them, maybe there's a wise letting go that happens. So to start being mindful of letting go in how we do it in ordinary life, as a support for doing it when in some of the deeper, more challenging ways. So it builds up a muscle, a familiarity, an understanding, and wisdom around letting go. And for today, for the meditation, I suggested that one of the movements, actions in the family of letting go is letting be. In some ways, it follows naturally from mindfulness, and maybe it's a simple next step, maybe. In another way, it's a very advanced practice. Only when there's a real strong mindfulness we just use mindfulness to just let be. And but I want to emphasize letting be today because it's easy for people to think that letting go is, when they hear teachings of it, especially from Buddhist teachers, that this is kind of like this is the depressing teachings that Buddhism has to teach. Letting go means you have to let go of the good things in life. We become less than, and something is, why can't we have all the things we want? And it just, now I have to become a monastic and probably a hermit someplace because they're emphasizing letting go of everything. And so some people react strongly to these teachings of letting go. So I thought it might be nice in that last meditation to begin with letting be. You're allowed to have everything. You're allowed to be exactly who you are. but to discover letting be in some profound way. There's a powerful way respectful way of letting things be just as they are. But letting be as they are is not holding on or clinging or wanting or pushing, or it's just stepping back and seeing, oh, that's how it is. Okay, let me just watch this now. I mean, let it be and let's watch it. Let's be with it. And watching something in the mind's eye has a powerful effect on something. It's kind of like the sun shining on a young plant in the garden, and the sun allows it to grow. This watching in mindfulness, letting it be and watching, is like the sun on things. And things that are unwise to do and be, there tends to be a little bit of a no longer being so invested in it. And things which are wise to do tend to grow in the sun of awareness. So it's a powerful thing just to let it be, but not let it be and just ignore it. Really let it be and see it clearly. And this capacity to let something be I think of it as part of the family of letting go, because it is a kind of letting go as well. It's letting go with this ongoing, incessant involvement, gnawing at something, or picking at something, or holding something, or investing ourselves in something, or trying to push away or pull away from something. It's just sitting still, metaphorically still, have the ability to be present and look something right in the eye, kindly, lovingly. I see you. I see what this is. In the moment, it's just a thought. In the moment, it's just someone angry at me. In the moment, it's just my fear. In the moment, it's just. And there are times when all this kind of just letting be is appropriate. Not always, of course, but there are times. And to build this muscle of learning how to be in this way, and just look at it and be with it, there's something powerful that begins to happen. And in the deeper areas of vipassana practice, the capacity to let things be becomes more and more important. To no longer be the agent of change, but let things be and allow ourselves to be the subject of change. Allow change to happen. Allow letting go and release to happen. The deepest, fullest kind of letting go that we do in Buddhist practice is not something you can do. It's something that happens on its own when we really learned the full maturity of letting something be. So, my friends, thank you. And I look forward to this week exploring different aspects of mindful letting go.